Good afternoon, everybody. Good evening, good morning, depending on where you are. Here we are back live on my channel, and we are back in using the OBS so we can use our pretty little graphics. Hope you guys like that. So this is Behind the Photo. If you haven't ever seen this show, me and David talk about news, about photography news, gear news, tips and tricks, talk to you guys. We also show a photo and show us, basically our mind behind that. So here is David, our other host, coming over from Australia. David, how you doing?
Really great, Aaron. How are you? Really looking forward to today's show. I think we've got things sorted out on your channel at least. So excited to go through everything today with everyone. Should be fun.
Yeah, it's a little different because now I was starting to get used to the whole Google thing, and now I got to get back into this thing, and I forgot to do my little dropout chat, so let me do that. Where's that at? Pop out chat. We have some people in the chat right now. Where should I put this window?
Well, we've got Matthew. Matthew's here. He just said, how are you going, Aaron, David? Looking forward to watching later after work. Jamie's also here. He's from northern New South Wales in Australia. Dana's here as well. How are you going? He said, I've been getting a kick out of a reef break, which pretends to be in the US, but was filmed in Surfers Paradise. Oh, okay. Oh, reef break. Yeah. Okay. So it's meant to be the US, but it was surfed here it was filmed here in Australia. Yeah. Who else have we got? It's saying it's very warm. Well, it's warm over where you are, Aaron, isn't it? I was at the snow yesterday.
Listen, I was just making fun of him. He was over there freezing his little tootsies off, and I'm sitting here in 94-degree weather, like sweating like crazy, getting all this set up, all the graphics and this double thing. So hope you guys like it because it did take a lot of time, but I think it's going to work out great because we can see each other. We can share our desktops easier and all that stuff. We can share video with audio and everything else. So thank you guys for coming by. Now, in this show, I always have a mug from our travels. Me and my wife go traveling around, and today we are in St. Petersburg. So if anybody's watching from there, hello, and thank you for stopping by. And the coffee we're drinking is called Pilong. We drink a lot of this in Puerto Rico. It's really good, and I'm about to pour it. So, David, tell us about your little snow trip. Do you know how cold it actually was?
Well, it wasn't that cold, really. Well, it was cold for you, Aaron, I suppose. It was 2 degrees Celsius, so that was pretty cold, but it wasn't snowing on the day. It wasn't actually quite cold enough, but they had a lot of snow over the weekend because they had 50 centimeters of snow that fell the day before. So we thought we'd take the 2 grandkids out because they've never seen the snow before. I also was reviewing, I'll talk about that soon, the Tamron. I wanted to take the Tamron 35 1.4 lens that I've been loaned out to try and review that. So I thought what a great sort of place to take it, and it was great fun. Kids loved it because they hadn't seen the snow ever before, so this was their first time seeing the snow. So, they were just going silly.
Well, I thought it was cute when you said, oh, hey, guys, when you're filming yourself, you go, hey, stay tuned tomorrow. I'll be doing the live show with Aaron. And one of your little ones said, who in the heck is Aaron? That was so freaking cute. It was just like,
yeah.
I was like,
yeah, and then she mentioned something about snow being down her bum as well. I just laughed and thought, kids are so funny.
Yeah, you got to watch them when you're going live. That's for sure, right?
I know you do. Now let me just start the timer, actually.
Oh yeah, start the time. Now we're going to be a little off, guys. So give us a chance. We're doing something new. While David's doing that, I'm going to share my desktop here and let you guys all know that we desperately want you guys to come over to our Facebook group. It's called Photography and Videography School, as you can see right here. This group was set up by David, and it's an amazing group. I'm slowly but surely, I'm kind of not posting on other posts. I still do, but I've deleted a lot of those other ones, because you could literally just post a picture of a landscape with nothing wrong with it. It's just a beautiful landscape. There's nothing to critique about or anything, but yet you'll get all these people saying negative stuff about it or just weird things, So on ours, we warn those people, and if it happens again, we just get rid of them because we want this community to be somewhere where you can post questions, comments, your work, your videos from your YouTube and all that stuff. And not have to worry about being shamed by anybody because it's like really crazy. And, people, I'm not saying I'm like the best photographer, but sometimes they'll school me on simple little things that I know that. It's just weird, you know. So I'm doing more and more over here. So come on over and make sure you spell this right. Can you see my cursor? Yeah. It's photography, and you have to put this little, I always forget what that's called, that little and logo-y thing.
Yeah, is it ampersand, is it?
That thing, yeah. And put that in there. Come over here and like the page, because it's really amazing. And we got a pretty large community now, and people post all their work. And I don't know why some of those weren't loading for some reason. So come on over, guys, and post your photography. I'll go through a few of these real fast. This is just the first couple pages. And yeah, so come on over. We would love to have you.
Now, with the timer, Aaron, because I forgot to start it, so I'm going to start it exactly now, which will start on the show start. So we'll just act as if the show has been started, so I'll start the timer now.
Okie dokie.
And that will be the point, so I'll just put 00 there.
Okay, let's see. I got to find my other window what's our next thing? So, but by the way, guys, if you have any comments, if we don't get it here in the live chat, after the video is over, leave them in the description, because both me and David will go through those, answer some questions. It's always Tuesday on my channel, then the next Tuesday it's on his channel, so I'll jump over there and look through some of the comments too, because people ask questions on both of our channels, and we like to answer those as well. So leave some comments, and also thumb this video up right now. Just go over there and beep, hit that thumb up, and subscribe to my channel and David's. If you want to watch next week, we'll be on David's, so that's cool. David, what should we talk about first? I can't find my list.
Now, we're going to start first. We're going to discuss your recent wedding shoot that you did with the XT3, because Aaron, as you know, has recently bought a Sony, the A7R III. And so now he's done a wedding, and we're going to discuss basically how he found going through that whole wedding using the Sony and like how he feels about Fuji and things like that. So we thought we'd start off with that to go. So I'll put the time in, and then you can head off, Aaron, if you want to go through everything you did.
Alrighty, so first of all, look how easy this is. Boom, desktop. If you go over to my YouTube channel, well, you're already over here, but later on you can check out a full video on my go into more details on the Fuji X-H1 versus the Sony A7R III versus the X-T3 and what I like better. And since we're here, I'm going to tell you really quick what I like better. And let me go full screen here. So one thing I noticed is I had the luxuries of having all these different types of cameras. I had the Panasonics, the Nikons, the Canons, Sonys years ago, A6000, A7 III, I don't know, more of those. And then the only camera that I didn't try that only recently got my attention, that was Fuji. The other brands, you know, like the Pentax, Olympus, and what's the other one? The very expensive one, small little things, can't remember what those are. Leica. I was never interested in those. Neither was I Fuji until the X-T3 came out. So I had all these cameras, and when I got the Fuji X-T3 in my hand, I still had my Sony A7 III, which I loved. I never... Most of the cameras I owned, I not all of them, but I liked a few of them that were worthy of always talking about, like the Panasonic G9. The X-T3 I thought would be that camera, but because the ergonomics after shooting with that for long periods at an event, I just really quickly found, you can go check the video, that the button is right on top on an X-T3, X-T2, X-T1, and so you have to stretch your finger to reach it. Like I'm using muscle and stretching my finger to get that. So the X-T3 was out for me. It's an amazing camera if you got time and you're doing street photography or even just model photo shoots that aren't that long or draining, and where you're just picking it up and taking a shot because your finger just comes up and you take a shot. But when your finger's on there like a whole wedding and you're just shooting 1,500 to 2,000 shots over 8 to 10 hours, it was really hard. So I ended up selling the Sony A7 III for the X-H1 because of the ergonomics. And I did a wedding on this a couple weeks ago. I shot a lot with this actually, but I did a wedding with this. And weddings and events are really where you kind of see it. And that's my mistake of getting rid of the Sony A7 III, is I already dealt with cameras with bad battery life in them. I've had them in my pocket, I keep them in my bag, you know, I can change. However, when you go to a camera like the A7 III or the A7R III that I'm filming this on, and you got that long battery life, you just realize like, whoa, this is like so nice that I don't have to keep my mind on my battery. And when you're doing a wedding, it's crucial. So that's one of the issues I had with this. The ergonomics are beautiful, but the battery. And because of that battery, I don't want to have to keep looking down and wondering, like, is this going to be the first kiss coming up? Ooh, I got 2 batteries. I should, you know, and you're just always thinking about it, and it came a burden. With the Sony A7 III, well, I did weddings with that. You just didn't have to, right? So I did a wedding with that, and that was one of the problems. The other problem, or not the problem, but the one thing with the Sony A7R III, because it has that long battery life, I had to put a battery grip on this, which made this thing, you can see the photo here, it made the camera like really, really large, as you can see in the thumbnail. So now we're not talking about a small camera anymore, and I love small, light cameras, and as I said in there, it has to fit in my bag, and you can see the difference with the Sony A7 III. I didn't need to put a battery grip on it because the battery works so good. So that was, you know, when you have a camera that just, like the A7 III, that just, I find no issues with it, but you get rid of it just to have 2 Fujis because the ecosystem is all the same, you start saying like, it was a lot easier on my Sony A7 III. Then the Sony A7R IV came out, and I got a really good deal on the A7R III, and I always wanted more megapixels for various reasons that you can watch that video for, and I ended up getting A7R III. So 2 weeks ago I did a wedding on this, and then just last weekend I did a wedding on the Sony A7R III, and it just confirmed everything that I was like, oh, that's why I love the Sony A7 III so much, because it's just the eye autofocus, the battery, the weight, the size. This here, my favorite lens, I think David loves this too. It's the Tamron 28 to 75 f2.8. That literally can do 100% of my work. Now, I use one of these little bad boys. This is the 24 millimeter when I want that distortion that you get with 24, but I don't have to have it, and I don't use it all that often. So this could be it. And someone told me on that video, but isn't your full frame camera heavier after you put on the full frame glass? And it's not, because when I had this Fuji with the battery grip, that's really heavy, and then you have the amazing Fujifilm 16 to 55 millimeter f2.8 lens, which is a beauty of a lens. I mean, that thing, up there on my top 5, it might have been my 6th or so favorite lens of all time. It's made out of metal, which is good and all that, but this Tamron was actually lighter. The Sony A7R III with that one long-lasting battery is actually lighter, so when you holding both of the systems with the 2 lenses that I used for almost everything I did, the Sony was lighter. So even though it's an APS-C, it's bigger and heavier. So, you know, take a full frame camera that has better image quality, low light, the 42 megapixels and all that. And the other thing is, the other lenses that I use is, David got me into this when I had the Sony A7 III. It's a 30 millimeter APS-C macro lens. You get 1:1 with this APS-C mode on the Sony A7R III. It's 18 megapixels, which is still amazing. I was just doing tests today as keeping this as wide as possible to get it as close as possible. It just still cannot get what this can. I mean, this is just like 1:1, you know? It's 18 megapixels. We're at 42 megapixels. You got to get the same 1:1, you got to crop in way more than that. Your files end up smaller. For weddings, and if you're putting flowers and little scenery, I think it's fine. But so anyways, the Rokinon, super light, this little thing, super light, and the 50 millimeter Sony that I'm filming on, super light. All of that fits in my bag, which I gotta show it again because I always do it. The Peak Design, all my Sony gear fits in here with a flash and an extra battery just in case my battery dies, and it's all lighter than my APS-C Fuji stuff. So, you know, I don't want to go too long because I don't know if I'm just rambling at this point, but that is the bottom line. The Sony was just worked flawlessly. This one I had, even on the X-T3, because people said, what about the X-T3? I find myself doing the single point focus quite a bit when people are a little further away, whereas the Sony, I was just like blown away, because when you do one wedding with this and then the next weekend you do the Sony, it's like, oh my gosh, it's picking up people way over there. It's just crazy. So if you have any questions, let me know. David, I'll ask you. I don't want to ramble too long. Have you sitting over there. So let me know, David. I'm going to go to you. You let me know if you have any questions so far.
Well, really, the main thing is I'm not surprised you're finding it better for weddings. I mean, I think once you've started to use the Sony, you realise how good that system is for events and things like that.
Well, once you go away from it,
yeah,
and then you
yeah,
go, whoa,
you do.
dude, that was like, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the thing too is what are you going to do though, Aaron? Are you going to find you're going to get a little bit mixed up between two systems like I did when I was using the Panasonic and also the Sony? Because I found in the end, muscle memory has a lot to play when you're working a lot of the time. And I found, even though I loved the Panasonic GH5, I just found that when I was going between the two of them, my muscle memory was being confused and it caused a few issues. Do you think you're going to be able to get around that?
Well, that's the reason why when I had the Fuji and the A7 III, I also did test side by side with the TX3, the Fujifilm X-T3, and the Sony A7 III. For APS-C, it's so close to the Sony that I was willing to give up that full frame quality in order to have another Fuji, because, like David just said, trying to go with this and then pick up a whole different camera, I'm a minimalist guy. I'm going to only use one camera, but I have to have backups for the work I do. But when I pick up another system, it's just like, oh man, it gets pretty crazy. So I'll probably just, the Sony a6000, I think is just fine for a backup lens camera. And that also being a backup, the a6000 is so small. So I've had that thing for a long time. And it does me good. So that might be just going to be my backup camera, basically. So, am I going to
I thought you'd sold the Tamron, so you kept all those lenses,
yeah, I kept
did you?
It. Yeah. So you were like, did you want to go back? Well, yeah, that's the thing. They were so cheap. I buy a lot of my stuff used and stuff. So when you get a real good deal with these cheap little things, the quality's great. You don't get much for them if you sell them, so you kind of keep those smaller things. The more expensive lenses and bodies, of course they sell to make up the money, but the X6000 is really still a great camera. I don't know if people are still using that, but if it's just a backup camera, that thing can sit in my bag. I don't even know it's there. And I would keep the Rokinon 24 millimeter on there, which becomes like a 36 millimeter. Carry just like a battery or two, put the A6000 on auto, have it in my bag just in case. Here comes the first kiss. Oh my gosh, my A7R III broke. You can just grab that off of the side here, which I can keep the little A6000 right on the capture clip and pull that off. And because it's an auto, you can just take a shot and not have to think about it and then start working on putting it back into manual. So yeah, that might be it. But man, this XH1 is very good. When that XH2 comes out, whenever it does, I don't even think there's rumors about it. If they improve the battery and get the focus as good as Sony, then that's going to be really good. Of course, you don't have 42 megapixels and all that other stuff, why I like this. But those are the downsides to it. And people don't like when people say downsides to cameras, but it's just a fact for me. I mean, you got to use the gear.
See, it's also the issue, too, of then you have to start to support two systems. So it means, the lenses. Become an issue because if one lens comes out, batteries, there's Chargers. All these sort of other things, and it just got to me in the end, and I thought, I'm going to try and go to one system, but I suppose eventually over time you might work out, which way you want to go. But it's not easy having two complete systems, so it's going to be interesting to see in the future over the next few months which one you're tending to gravitate to more than the other.
That's what I'm going to do because I think I jumped and got rid of the Sony A7 III too fast because you don't know until you start using it. So if anybody out there, if you can, like I was blessed to have a camera given to me, a Fuji, so that I had an opportunity to have both systems and I didn't, which if you have that opportunity or have the money to do that, just do that and set the one that put this one on the back burner for a while, try it out a little longer. If I did that with the Sony A7 III, I'd probably still have it, but hey, I got this A7R III now because of that happened. So, I ain't mad.
I mean, the thing is, at the moment, that camera is just getting to be ridiculous price, the A7R III. Like when they're talking about it being $2,000 brand new by Christmas. Yeah. Like that's only a few months away. Like, I mean, it's incredible, It's going to be interesting to see then which way people go. Will they be buying the A7 III or will they be buying the A7R III? Because they're getting pretty close in price now. So it is going to be Very, very interesting. I mean, like I said, if I'm even thinking about getting one as a spare camera as well. If it gets down to around about that $2,000 new, I might even think about picking one up myself to have as a backup camera, as a spare camera, because at that price, it's ridiculous.
It is.
I don't need the 60 megapixels, so I really don't think I'll move up to the R4 at this stage. I mean, I'll probably find that I'd be happy enough with the 42.
Yeah, I think
and
I
that
am.
would do me.
Yeah, I think now that I had it, and people ask me how does the files work on the iPad, which I talked a little bit about. I did notice on certain effects inside Affinity Photo, there was quite a bit of a slowdown, and I'm going to try a couple different things to work around that. So I couldn't imagine 61. I said it should do fine, and it does, but once you add some effects to the photo, like an unsharpened mask, and I can't remember what it was, it really slowed down, like, ooh, that's pretty slow. So a 61 on my iPad as it is now, I think would be overkill. Unless I'm going to try it. I'll do a video on how that works out. So I think 42 is pretty good. And I was explaining I like to show my desktop now. This video right here, the Fujifilm X-H1 Sony A7R, why I need more megapixels video. You can go check that one out. That one, I explained that when you look at a photo on a device, let's say it was on the iPad Pro, and it's fit. You have your program open that you're editing, and it's fitting in there around 25%, 50% or whatever. It looks sharp. Almost any picture would, any megapixels, because it's so small. But once you go to 100% or even 200 I don't usually do too much, but let's say you go to 100, that image still looks sharp at 42 megapixels, whereas the 24s just look a little soft. Naturally, you didn't, think about it because you're zooming in, but with the 42 on the iPad, it just still looks sharp. So I don't think I need 61. I'm pretty happy with the 42.
Casper just said, cool robot voice. Is my voice coming through funny? Are you hearing it okay, Aaron?
Yeah, I hear you fine. Was it me or you?
No, I think he said cool robot voice, David Oastler. Whether YouTube's doing something.
Yeah,
I'm
maybe.
Not sure. Yeah, it could be. But well, it seems to be fine. Aaron's hearing it okay. Someone just asked me too. Trev said, how many bodies do I currently have? And I've got the A7 III, the A9, and the A6 400. So they're the bodies that I've got. I'm waiting to see what Sony announce, hopefully the end of this month, because I'm hoping that they bring out an A7000 with decent video specs, and I probably will buy that. But that will tide me over. I'm finding I'm quite happy now with what I've got. I just need a better video camera. But Aaron, I found when I had the A7 III, A7R2, I mean,
A7R2.
I didn't like, because it was
you
the
had
previous
the
model.
A7R2.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, I sold that just recently.
Oh,
now
I remember.
Yeah. Now, I found that I didn't like to use that in weddings too much because the file sizes were just getting crazy for storage and things like that. That's why I went so much towards the A7 III. And I found often what I did was I just shot in APS-C mode due to the fact it would drop the file sizes down. So are you shooting the weddings with the full 42 megapixel sensor?
Yeah, I heard you say that before, and a few other people mentioned it. I didn't find an issue at all. I mean, I use 128 gigabyte SD cards, and I didn't see any. Of course there is, but I mean, I didn't go like, oh my gosh, nothing stood out to me that it was too much. So, yeah, I didn't really mind. I shoot RAW on one card and JPEG on the other, like that faster one. I forget which ones they are, and yeah, I just didn't find any issue with it really. Now, I don't think you don't. That's the whole thing. You don't necessarily need 42 for a wedding, but I explained in my video why I need more megapixels. It just comes in handy that if you shooting across tables, you can't get there close enough, and you got your whatever lens on there zoomed as far as it can go, you can crop in later, like maybe a first kiss. I mean, when I do weddings, I'll shoot, which I used to always just shoot with primes. I never was a zoom shooter until the Tamron. That's my first zoom I really started using for everything, where everything was primes. I would put a wide lens on there right up to that first kiss, and I would be shooting wide shots, but then I've had like another camera with like a 50 on there or something, or I would switch out fast. You gotta be real quick. And then I would go for tight shots. But with 42 megapixels, I mean, you could literally just get full body shots of them kissing and then just crop it later, and whichever one they like or whatever, you know. So it makes that stress of getting a tight shot of them kissing so much easier because you got a full body shot, crop it later, it looks spectacular.
Yeah, they're still saying I sound like a robot. I wonder what would cause that.
But why?
Because
you sound
well,
perfect.
The funny thing is, Aaron, I'm coming perfect to Aaron, so it's obviously got to be something going out somewhere or YouTube doing something to it. So I've got no idea.
But why would you sound like that and not me? Maybe it's your. I don't know. I don't get it.
Well, it doesn't make sense because if I'm sounding okay to you, you think that would be it must be something somewhere. Photomaniac, g'day mate. Is
hey,
that he's calling me the Alexia Oastler.
Ike, you silly boy. Hey guys, if you haven't gone check out Ike's video, YouTube channel, I always forget to say this. He's got one of probably the best live behind the scenes videos of his photo shoots. Like everybody else is always editing and all this stuff. I did one video before it wasn't live but like uncut because I don't got the I guess the nerve, not the nerve, the bravery to sit there and go on an iPhone, go live, and then just do the photo shoot. So check out his channel because you can see him do everything. You can see his mistakes that he never does, and all the stuff that he does. He always explains everything. So yeah. Anyways,
everyone's just commenting about the voice. It's quite funny. Perhaps
I'm looking here.
Perhaps it's just my masculinity, you know, the masculine voice that I have. Does it sound really bad, guys, though? Just let us know in the chat. I'm not sure what we could do about it. But the funny thing is, like I said, we tested before we went live, and Aaron's hearing me fine. So it's got to be something. Yeah, so I'll keep talking and just see if it... you sound silly. You sound silly, boy. I like laugh out loud. Yes, I'll just keep talking and see if Aaron can hear me.
No, I kind of hear it, but it's not. It's just a little bit of a robot tinge in there, but it's not.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah,
that's okay. Like, I'm happy with that.
Yeah, I didn't want to be like. No, it's very slight. So they're exaggerating, I think, but I don't know what it is. But it's there, but it's small.
Yeah, that's all right. Well, it's certainly going to be interesting to see how you go in the coming months. Like I said, I'm going to be watching you to see how you go, Aaron, because I've got a feeling you're going to go back to the dark side of Sony. But
if I come back with if I do go all Sony, I'll come back with a T-shirt with you got that orange T-shirt with the A on it, you know, and I even wear a baseball hat with Sony on it. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, what Nivak said, audio is workable. It's like Aaron is in stereo and David dialed in on a conference call. Well, it could be because, see, we're dealing with Skype.
Yeah, I'm getting your audio feed from Skype going through. Yeah, so I don't hear it through our Skype call, but I bet you it's something in getting into the OBS thing.
Yeah, it's probably, and that's the thing. It's unfortunately YouTube changed the whole system on us, and we've now got to use Skype, and so we're probably dealing with a Skype issue, you know, and there's nothing we can do anyway.
It's not too bad. Like, remember last time?
It's not too bad. So yeah,
last time
it's going to be
terrible.
Yeah, it seems to be working. So that's the main thing.
Alrighty.
All right, so let's go to the next one. I'm just going to put in the time. Let me put in
all these different windows now. I have to figure out. Okay. Oh, David, you got to talk about shooting with the Nikon.
Oh, the time stopped, Aaron. It's played up. You'll have to just go through it and put it.
Yeah, don't worry, don't worry.
Yeah, I'm going to talk about this because, oh my God, yesterday I'm
going to go big with you there on the screen there.
Yesterday I took out the Tamron, and look, I have to say this lens is superb, and I'll show you an image later when we show our photos. But I used this yesterday. I don't think this is released yet. I think this is still on pre-order if you look at B&H. So this is the Tamron. It's the 35 SP 1.4. It's Tamron's best lens they've ever made, apparently. So it's meant to be their most sharpest ultimate lens that they've ever produced. It really does feel like a tank. It certainly feels like a quality lens. You know, you even have your AM manual focus on the side. You've got a depth indicator that sort of comes through the side here. But it was more interesting because I wanted to take it out yesterday when we did a snow shoot with the kids, and I thought it's a perfect thing to try it out in the snow. And I'm actually going to use it on Friday when I'm doing a dance video with a dancer in the same waterfall that I recently showed when I reviewed the Tamron 17 to 28. So we're going to go there and then to the beach. So I'm going to do a dance video with a beautiful dancer. So just wait for that. It's going to be stunning, I think. But you know, the thing I wanted to talk about was how quickly you forget what it's like to use a digital SLR. Now, this is the D810. I wanted to thank Ben because Ben, one of my friends here, he's coming on the shoot with me on Friday, but he lent me his D810 because Tamron lent me a D610, which I thought, well, I don't want to be using that camera. I prefer to be using a more upmarket one. So I borrowed this D810. But you just forget, Aaron, what it's like to use these. I keep constantly going to look at the viewfinder at the back. And I kept handing it to Kerry to have a look at the images, and she was trying to look on the back to see how it was working and everything. But it's like you're going back in time. Yeah. And I'm not bagging people that use digital SLRs because the results are beautiful, and I'm looking at the results and they are beautiful. But it's just the way the camera works. You forget about the weight, the size, but it's more how the camera just works, and having to use just a viewfinder instead of an EVF is so different in your thinking because you have really no idea apart from using, you know, your meter inside about what the exposure is going to do. And I made a few mistakes sometimes because the EVF, the meter in this is the opposite way to what I'm used to. So I was underexposing and things like that. But that was my fault. We just got a buzz coming through then.
I didn't hear it.
Yeah, might be just me again. So it was really interesting to see how this works. And I thought, boy, there's no way I would ever go back to shooting a digital SLR. Because, look, I can understand people love the ergonomics and feeling how the camera is held in your hand. But I would hate to lose the EVF. The EVF for me is the biggest thing, and shooting in live view at the back and seeing what your exposure actually is and things like that is just so different than having to use an EVF. And I really did feel like I was going back to the dinosaurs. I know some people are going to hate saying that, but I really did feel that. Let me know in the chat too whether anyone can hear that little buzzing. I'm just curious to see if you can hear it or whether it's just me.
I don't hear it.
But I would not want to go back. It was just bizarre. But stay tuned for the review. I really love the lens, though. I'm hoping this lens comes to Sony. Buzz is coming through my speakers. Yeah, they can hear it. That's weird. I wonder where that's coming from. I will hope it comes out through Sony because it is just such a stunning lens. So stay tuned for that review.
Yeah, so I had the same thing. I went during the storm here, the big hurricane a year ago or so, or 2 years now.
Now, Aaron,
yeah.
While you're talking, I'm going to see if I can change this microphone because it's buzzing and they can hear it. So I'll try just going through a different. Oh, I wonder if I can change it through Skype. No, it might cause an issue.
Yeah, I wouldn't do it.
No, I think we might just have to leave.
Yeah, we might lose you. Can you hear me, though? You can hear me, right?
I can hear you fine. There's just a buzzing in the background.
It's probably Skype because, like, we've had issues, like when we first started the show, like a year ago, it started acting up. So there might not be nothing we can do, but we can try to fix it later when we go off air. I just don't want to lose you.
Yeah, because if I turn the microphone off and change, it might just
we might
not be able to get back. Yeah, it might not go back in. That's okay.
So
yeah,
the DSLR, the DSLR. I wanted to comment on what you were saying. It is like an absolute dinosaur. Because during the storm here, Maria, I had the Nikon D7200. I went back to DSLRs. I said, let me try, because I love my Nikon D750. Let me try Nikon again. This was 2 years ago. They didn't have mirrorless. D7200 APS-C. And man, it didn't take me long to say I don't like this at all, because when you get so used to that live view and you know, an EVF, you could just check your photos right here. I forget that girl's name. She shoots Canon still. She has a huge YouTube channel, Irene something.
Oh yeah.
I really like her beautiful photos that she makes. But she always, and I've seen other people use like a little, they call them a loop or something like that, where you put it on the back of the DSLR screen just to, I mean, come on, I'm using all that stuff. I could just go in here, I can zoom in, I can do all that stuff, and yeah, DSLRs, you'll never see me with another DSLR, that's for sure. It's just too big, heavy, slow, clunky. Yep, I feel the same with you, David.
Oh, the buzz wait, that's good. It's disappeared again. Yeah, it's got to be just Skype problems. Yeah, so and it was really funny. Like I just kept. I mean, look, obviously, and Trev said the camera is spectacular, and I have to agree. The images that I've got off it are beautiful, and I'll show you one soon. It's beautiful. The lens is beautiful. It's just a great system, but you just forget once you've moved to mirrorless how much advancements we've made in photography, and I really wish I'd say had the Z7 or something like that to try, and then it may not have been such a big shock because, like I said, once you move off the mirrorless and you've been shooting it, to go back to that just feels really like you are going back to shooting with dinosaurs. And it's the images are fantastic, yes, but just the way the camera actually works is just horrible compared to using mirrorless. It really is.
I didn't think it'd be that bad. I was like, well, I mean, I've used this for years, but oh my gosh, I just like, got rid of it real quick, went back to mirrorless. Yeah,
it's just bizarre. All right, so we're going to just talk now about Adobe adding GPU updates. Now, I've just updated that this morning. Have you updated it, Aaron? Because Lightroom has just put an update for GPU.
Yeah, and where am I at here? If you guys see here, I put this on our photography and videography school. I also had a Lightroom mobile update, which I use solely for my photos, and there's a lot of good updates for that. Do you want to tell us, David, what updates? I'm going to show them that article while you talk about it.
Yeah, if you bring that up, we can go through it. Yeah, so Adobe this morning, and I just did the update this morning. The funny thing is they're showing the iPads there, but the article actually isn't about that. It's actually about the desktop version. But they've officially given GPU accelerated editing for the first time. So I did go and check inside Lightroom, and now there is a dialog box where you can choose if you have a GPU that will give you the accelerated performance, and that will speed up things like if you're doing any retouching, like if you're doing any correction, where you're getting rid of pimples and spots and things like that, any color corrections. So basically, it's anything that's graphic intensive is taken away from your CPU and put onto your graphics cards. So the better your graphics cards are, the faster this should start to work, and it's taken them a long time to get this. Photoshop has had it for a while, and it uses. If you want to see the difference it makes, if you use Photoshop, try doing things like we use the liquefied command. Try turning off the GPU and see how slow it actually works, and then turn the GPU on and see how quickly it works. It's amazing the difference GPU can increase the performance of your program that you're using. So now that Lightroom has added that, it's well, I haven't really tested it yet. Because I just installed it before the show, but I'll let you know. Yeah, I'll let you know how it goes. But I did check that it was there, and it is there now, and it's a selectable dialog box. There is an advanced part to the dialog box you can click if you want to do other little features. I'll have to play around with that to see if it makes any difference. But then it will use all of the available RAM that you've got inside of your GPU. So in other words, that will free up the RAM of your system as well. It frees up your CPU. So in theory, it should work an awful lot quicker. And there's a few other updates that were released in there as well. I mean, I think that's one of the differences. And Aaron's going to talk about the iPad later. I know there was one person, I can't remember who it was, hated that. But you know what, guys? You have to get over that, because I do think editing on the iPad is going to be the future, and I do believe that. But I think that's the difference between, say, how Lightroom and these programs that are written for the iPad are so fast, because they are written to address. Well, they basically have been compiled to work on that system, whereas Lightroom has still got a hell of a lot of old code, which is based almost back to when it was 386 computers. So it goes way back, whereas the iPad versions have been built from the ground up, and they do address all of the hardware that's available on the iPad, and things like the GPUs and things like that, which I don't know. I know the latest iPad that I've got, I think it's a 6-core GPU in there or something. It's really big anyway, very, very powerful. So it will work very, very fast. And you know, they've been a little bit slow in the desktop versions to get rid of that older code, I think, because they need the backward compatibility. And Lightroom has been notoriously slow. Yeah.
Super slow. Yeah, so when I installed it, in case you guys, I had a little bit of an issue, like right before we went on the show. When I installed it, I forget if it asked to reset the computer. I just followed whatever it said. But then it was like causing my whole system to slow down, and I couldn't change photos with inside Lightroom, and it was jittery. I'm like, oh no, right before the show starts. Never update things before the show starts. But then I just resetted my computer and it worked. So if you're having some weird glitchy issues after doing this latest update on Lightroom for the PC, then just reset your computer, and I think it'll fix it.
I was just laughing. Someone was saying there's a delay on the voice here. There's nothing we can do about it, unfortunately. It's
it's Skype.
Just the way it goes. It's Skype.
Yep, that's why we got rid of it a while ago for Google. It's cool because we could do apps and do all this cool graphics, but you know, it's kind of choppy. Now, I was going to say they also have a Lightroom mobile update that I posted, and there's a couple different features in there. One of the features I really like is I can go, if you check this out, I can go to the desktop here, and you can see I posted this on our group here. If I hit, messages. If you click on play, up here you can type in whatever lens that you shoot with or whatever, and it'll show you all of the photos that you used with that lens, which is really cool because there'll be times I'll be in a forum somewhere or on our Facebook groups and someone said, hey, did you ever use the Tamron whatever, show me your photo, or is it any good? I can go right over to Lightroom, whether I'm on my mobile or PC, which I don't hang out on my PC too much, and I can just click in what that lens is and it'll show all my photos and I can grab one and post it. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Picture cool.
Trevor said, can I say I'm Megatron? Okay, you ready? I'll say it. I am Megatron.
Oh my gosh, is it that bad? Nah, come on.
Yeah, well, I don't know. They're saying it is. But you know what? See, what's happening here, guys, is that Aaron is broadcasting live from his, so his signal's probably going straight out. Mine's going from Skype over to Aaron, and then he's going out again. So obviously, there's issues with Skype that you just probably can't get around, unfortunately, due to bandwidth, and you know who knows what goes on in that area, because it has changed. It was okay, then it's getting worse again and things like that. So it must be, you know, Skype probably having issues.
Yeah, because Google Hangouts, we like your signal, I think, just goes straight to the internet instead of over to me, then over to this, and then out. So and that's why I'm not hearing you. I hear you fine. So once it goes through here, there might be an option. Maybe there's an option in OBS to lower your bandwidth or something of your little screen. I don't know, but we'll check it out later. Okay, David, what's next?
Now we're going to go through, because this is really interesting to me. Like I said, I know we had someone saying, "Oh, not iPads again," but like I said, I do think this is the future of the way things are going to go, and I'm certainly going to start looking at it soon because I've bought an iPad. But you were going to discuss how you edited. You've done your last few videos on the iPad, Aaron, so you were going to discuss that.
Yeah, those videos I kept talking to you guys about. Let me show you again because I like to flip screens. Desktop. There it is. Right here, these two last videos of mine, this was the first one I did, the Fujifilm X-H1 Sony A7R III, why I need more megapixels. I did that all on the iPad. Of course, I filmed using the Sony A7R III like now. And the way I have my system set up is it's connected to my computer. I've got my monitors here, and I don't record directly in camera. I use OBS so I can do screen captures while I'm filming my YouTube channels, and that video gets recorded on my hard drive on my computer. And right now, because iOS 13 is not out, how do I get it from my computer to here? Well, there's some device you can use that's Wi-Fi and all this that I did, but it's too slow. So I just put it in my video in iCloud, so that way it just shows up on my iPad later, and that's how I get my videos from my computer that I'm filming like this right now into my iPad. And once you're in there, well, once iOS 13 comes out, I don't have it with me right now, but I'm going to probably use a hard drive and then just offload the files to the hard drive, and then I could take the hard drive with me and put them on my iPad. Now, the iPad is so cool for video. If you go watch that video that I'm showing you right here, you can see how it works flawlessly. You would never know it was on an iPad. And then on my video I just put up today, this one right here, the Fujifilm X-H1 versus Sony A7R III versus the X-T3 for weddings. That one I was just playing around with keyframing graphics because I'm a graphic artist as well, and I wanted to see can I move graphics in and out and stuff like that. Just they were very basic in this because I didn't want to spend I wanted to get the video out, but I was able to. I'm not going to show you. Go watch it. I was able to keyframe a graphic. So when I say cool cat in the video, I just had this little PNG cat with glasses and a leather jacket come in and then come out. Very basic, but that's pretty cool because now you can, swing in lower thirds, text. You don't have to just be simple all the time. So it worked amazing. Watch the videos. You'll see it worked flawlessly. And the cool thing about it is those were not in 4K. I just do my YouTube videos in 1080, but I have done many projects in 4K, and they edit just as good as the 1080 60p on the iPad Pro. Once you get your footage in here, you are allowed to have 6 tracks, or layers, which is absolutely amazing. It used to be 3, but now it's 6. So I could do, I could put audio, if I want to make a small little music over my stuff. It doesn't just have to be 1. It could be, I think, up to 3 or maybe 6 audio. I didn't go that much yet. But for video 6, I wish I had the project here, but I had 6 photos right on top of each other, and if you put them all around on the screen, they're all it's just amazing. So 6 tracks, a 4K 60p video. It renders faster than well, it renders a lot faster than After Effects for sure. And you could do keyframing for graphics now. So I might just start coming up with some cool lower thirds, animated graphics to put on there as well. And when I do my intros on here, I already have them on my iPad, so I just bring those over with the new video and stuff like that. Editing's easy. The only thing I
don't forget to go full screen again.
Oh, yeah. Sorry.
Yep.
Sorry. The only thing I couldn't figure out when doing those 2 videos, because they updated this a lot, the LumaFusion, since I last used it, 6 tracks. When you put a photo on top, so if I'm talking and the photo appears here, and a little later another photo comes here, and a little later the little cat comes and all that, I made a mistake in the beginning where there was too much of a space. So when on YouTube it would have been this long black space, did the video ever start? So I had to move that, and I couldn't figure out how to selectively choose. You know how on a PC you can hold down Control or something like that, and you can click the different files that you want, and then they're all highlighted, and you can move them all together. I couldn't figure that out, so I had to come up with some really wonky way of doing it that was not very pleasant. So if you are a LumaFusion guru and you know how to select certain clips in the project, I keep pointing to this, in the project.
So you can't press the command, Aaron, and then click with your keyboard?
No, it's almost, well, no, I tried it and it didn't work. I just don't think that's written in there. I don't think the code is written in there to do that. They do, you're not going to see this, but at the bottom they do have a, what do you call that? Let me see. It's called a link and unlink button, but that's only for audio. So you could detach the audio, which is so cool, because if you ever see my YouTube videos, I come in like this. I'm going to give you a little secret. I come in like this and then I start talking. Well, and so you don't hear the wheels rolling in. I just detach it and then I cut it right when I stop here so you don't hear the rolling coming in, and then I talk and the audio's there. So you can detach the audio, unlink it, and just edit it back to wherever you want to. So that's really cool. And then if you want to link it back up to the video, that same video file, you can link it. But I cannot figure out how to selectively link certain, that's kind of a bummer, because if you make that mistake that I did and you need to move a certain group, it's going to be a disaster. And then I did move it. I put it on YouTube. I put it on our Facebook group. And my outro had a big gap. And I'm like, oh my gosh, so I had to delete it from YouTube. And yeah, a little finicky. So if you know how to do that, please let me know. Anything, David, you want to ask me about this? Because I can start rambling.
I'm looking forward to it because, like I said, I'd love to be. My plan is to use this when I come out to the States in February. So that's my plan. Is this will be my editing platform, and so I thought it's probably perfect. So I've got to learn how to do this before I come out in February. So I'm going to try and start soon and really get into it in a big way and give it a go. So I'm looking forward to doing it. Plus then I can also like edit wherever I am. Like you said, you did it the other day at your mother-in-law's place, and you know, you can take
Macy's.
your editing with you.
I was in the shoe department of Macy's doing that last video. My wife was shopping. I was sitting there. That Sony and the iPad Pro fit in this little bag, which is crazy. So I could take that whole, I mean, I've got a 4K, 42 megapixel camera and an iPad Pro all in that bag that I can just start editing. That's like just ridiculous. So what I would say to you, David, is just do your next YouTube video, film something, throw it on there and start editing it, because just like any program, you're going to be like, why does it do that? Then you start to go, oh, now I see why it does that. And then it does also have snapping, which I don't like. And it keeps snapping, and I figured a way around how to make it snap where I want.
I was going to say, you can't turn it off?
I looked everywhere, and I couldn't figure it out. So basically, I got to figure out how to hook this up so you guys can see it. But like if you wanted to, you can't see it, but there's like the playhead right here. If I wanted to snap a video anywhere, it's going to snap on the playhead or right behind a video. So if I wanted another layer on top of this one, it's going to kind of snap. It was just kind of like, I don't want it to snap. You know, I just wanted to nudge it. And you had to put the playhead there. It was kind of weird. So I'm not a guru at this because they did so many updates since I used to use it all the time. But that's the other little finicky thing. But David, just do your next YouTube video like that and just fumble around with it and find out how to put layers, and then you'll find out. And you know what? They have free music in here. You can buy music through them. If you don't have, I have a huge catalog of music. I have what's that called? Because I was a YouTuber, I got a free subscription to Sound. I don't know what it is, but all the music you can desire. But they have that in here. They give you some free ones. You can buy some, and you can layer all those on there. But yeah, you just have to start using it, move things around. I would say add some music so you understand how that. And once you click on something, it goes into like the editing here, so you can do the keyframes and move this whole thing around, and you know it comes in or out. Same with the music, you can have it go down and up in volume, rotate stuff. I mean, it's pretty crazy, man. And then graphics, and I'm editing keyframes, ridiculous.
Yeah, like I said, it's more the power that that you've got. Gerald also says you can do it on PCs. Yeah, you can. I mean, if you want to go down the PC side, you could also do that as well. It's just I'm heavily invested in the Mac side, which
what can you do on PC?
Yeah. Well, I suppose he said you could do similar things on the PCs due to the fact that he said switching from a full Apple computers and iPads can cost as much as switching camera systems. Yeah, I mean, I'm lucky. I'm everything Mac for me. Like I've got an app, an iPhone, I've got the iPads, and I've got Apple computers through the house, and everything switches seamlessly between them, and I can, you can do drop sharing to everything, and it just works seamlessly. And once you're in that system, I certainly wouldn't want to leave it, just due to the fact of, well, not really even having viruses alone is enough for me. But I just love the way the Macs work. So, I mean, you either love them or you don't. I suppose it's like camera systems, isn't it? But I don't think there's anything really out there that can match the software that you get on the Apple computers. That's the thing, like the iPads. The problem is I did try and go Samsung for about a month. I thought I'd try it because I love being geeky and trying different things.
Yeah.
And I hated it. I just couldn't stand it. The software was buggy. It's never written as well as what the Apple software is. There's always issues. Yeah. So
I don't even have you on screen. Well,
no, that doesn't matter. They can hear me. It's probably better anyway because they wouldn't see my voice not syncing.
I forget we don't have auto switch like Google Hangouts, so I completely neglected that. But while I'm live, can you see my screen though, David?
Yes, I can. Yeah.
I just wanted to show you guys. I actually don't have. You mentioned this before, David. I didn't correct you, but I don't have like a what do you call that? A cell service hooked to this, so I don't have the luxury of just connecting anywhere. I always go through my phone as a hotspot. Is that what you call?
Yes,
so that's kind of how I use it. But what I was going to show you guys, watch this little. This is just live. Whoops, sorry. Look, that's just like live. There's no skipping. There's no, like, even when I go on, like, Premiere Pro or something. Sometimes there's glitchy. It just plays normal. And you saw that little cat come in. And how I did that, I just got on my phone and I went to Google and I searched cool cat PNG. I downloaded the PNG from here, and then this is why David, I'm going to go back to both of us. And David's saying that's everything seamless, and because I have an Apple device here and an Apple device here, I downloaded the cat PNG here, and then I just did the airdrop over to my iPad because I don't have the wirelessy cell phone thingy on there. And that's how I got my graphics for that video on here, by using this, airdrop in seconds, and added it. So if I would have had
and you can do that in LumaFusion, can you? So it does have the pass you can.
Well, no. What I did was just to the camera roll. You know how you do the airdrop? Some people don't even know.
No, I mean the actual way it moved. You can do that in LumaFusion.
Yeah, it's called keyframes. Gonna, if I double click on that, oh, I can't do it. But yeah, it's keyframe. So you move the cat off the screen and you click a keyframe, and then you go into the future of your video, and then you bring the cat over and it automatically adds a keyframe. So now when you play it, it starts over here, and that's just a basic keyframe movement. You can do spinning stuff and everything. So yeah, I mean, it's just, I'm going to probably do all my YouTube videos now on that. And when I'm out, Oreo was, we were talking that if I film on my SD cards in my camera, I just use an SD card. Let me show you guys, because people always ask me, sorry my audio is fading. People always ask me, what do you use? It's just this. I mean, this isn't too, I thought everybody knew about those, right? It's just the Apple SD card reader that goes into your iPad, and you put your SD card in. That's how I get my files off my camera into there. And so if I'm filming on my camera and I'm out and I'm not coming back to my computer, I'll just use that, put the files on there, and do all my editing wherever I'm at. And I'll probably do all my YouTube videos on there probably, because it's just so easy. I can sit, we don't have air conditioning in this office. It's 94 degrees. Where my wife is now, it's probably a cool 32 degrees. She's probably got blankets on. I'd rather go edit it over there. So that's probably what I end up doing from now on my YouTube videos.
Now, the interesting thing there is Nivak said that David's audio is fine when you're off the screen, but it's robot again when it's in split screen. So I wonder if there must be a setting somewhere, perhaps.
Okay,
because that's interesting.
David.
So let me see now. So test. This is testing. Let me know if the audio is still okay. I think it's still out of sync though. So let us know in the chat, guys, as I'm talking, because I'm just curious, because we'd love to sort this out. So is the audio okay now if I'm just on my own? Or
and now we're back together?
Is it still a problem?
Yeah,
so we'll see what someone says.
Because if that's the case, then your bandwidth on my OBS might be too much for my. Because remember, I'm getting all your signal, and then I got to push all that through my stuff. So it might be pushing mine first and yours, doing something. So that's cool.
It could be that. I mean, like I said, there's nothing you can do about it anyway, because there's no other solutions that are out there. So there's not much you can do about it.
That's the truth. I might be able to lower both of my bandwidth to them. It won't be as sharp and clear, but if it sounds better and moves better, maybe it's worth bringing it down just a little bit. All right. What else, David?
Now, you were going to discuss, because you contacted me the other day about this, to talk about the reviewers. Oh, before you do that, we can quickly just show our photos, Aaron.
Oh, yeah. Let me show you. Yeah. Let me show you mine real quick, and then we'll go to David. So we always do behind the photo, and we show our photo. We haven't been doing it for a while because we've been really bad on time and trying to get it down. So I don't know why you're thinking. Let me go full screen. And now we never do landscape photos here. We always do model shoots and flash and all that stuff. So thought I would do a landscape shot. And I wanted to get into landscapes for a long time. But man, I'll tell you what, landscapes are really hard, because if you got a model, she doesn't even have to be, she or he doesn't have to be super beautiful. But if you know how to pose and they're wearing something interesting, you don't even need a location. You can, if you know how to do photography and you know how to use light, that is your subject, a model. You take them anywhere, you take a shot. You could be in a trash dump, you get close, blur out the background, boom, you got a great photo. But when it comes to landscapes, it's really, really hard, because you could walk out for miles and stay out there and just nothing happens. You go home like, man, the sky didn't turn. It was just, so I'm finding it being really hard. But I had ND filters for a while for my video production, But I didn't take this with me when I walked out to this location, which is down the street from me at a beach. And it started sprinkling. I said, I'm not going to go back and get my ND filter. And I wanted to make the water soft. I don't know if this shows up for you guys, but, the water's like glass soft, because you've got a slower shutter. So I just wanted to go how I did that. A lot of you guys might know. But I had to wait till the sun got down to get dark enough, because I was already at a slow shutter, and I was at the aperture I wanted to be in and all that, and I quickly found how important like a 10-stop ND filter is, because I had to wait until the ambient light got to the right point to get this shot. So I don't know if you guys, ever did landscapes, but yeah, if you're going to do landscapes and you want that glassy type, you got to get an ND filter, or you could miss it. Now the sky was beautiful when I got there. If I would have brought that with me, I would have got the shot and everything, and I started losing the sky. Like, I'm going to lose the whole sky, and it's beautiful right now. So I just wanted to post that. I use a cheap, I don't have it. What's that? MePhoto. I think David has the same one. A MePhoto tripod.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, and I mean, let me get it. Hold on.
Yeah, it's a really good tripod. I love that. Just looking at this photo of Aaron's here, it's beautiful. I love landscape shots like that.
Oh, yeah. I saw some of yours, too, with waterfalls. It's great. So I just use this, you see, real, like, landscape photographers use these really big ones and all that stuff. And I just wanted to see, this isn't carbon fiber. It's metal, and it's kind of heavy, but I think it's for its own good, because you don't want it shaken. And I've been using this for landscapes. I've got more shots I'm not going to show. It's about this photo
Well,
here.
that's what I use for the waterfalls, Aaron.
Oh, you use this one?
Yeah.
See? And... so I don't think I have big tripods, actually. I don't even need to buy one. I've got one I'm using right here. I've got a couple different large tripods, but I don't even think I need to take those with me so far. I mean, if it gets windy, that might be a whole different story. But for all the ones I've been doing so far, I've just been using this little thing here. And to do this shot, you can put this out. Since we're talking about behind the photo, this is what I did. I just put these legs, I don't know if I can do this without hitting my keyboard, and put it all the way as far as to the ground it goes. You can also go like this. I've done shots like this before, upside down, so you can get that lower type of stuff. And that's how I got that shot, just an inexpensive tripod. And because I didn't have the ND, I almost lost that beautiful sky because I had to wait forever. So get an ND filter. And I focus, there's all those different things you can focus on. Infinity, or do you focus here or there? You get calculators out and all that stuff. I almost always just either focus to infinity or focus about 6 feet in front of me, and I've never had any issues with that so far, and that's how I got the shot. So there's my behind the photo, David, and yeah, thanks.
Beautiful. Love it.
Now let's see if we can share your screen. Let's go here. Okay, David, go for it.
Oh, yeah, there we go. There's my little lens.
So
this is a shot I took, yesterday. So this is with the Tamron. I just wanted to show one that so it's a sneak peek really of using the Tamron 35 1.4 that's just been released. And when you start to see the review of this lens is ridiculous, actually, how sharp it is. You can't really see it so much on this image, but just wait until you see the review and see how sharp it is. It's lovely. I mean, I really like it. Like I said, I'd love Sony to bring out a version of this lens, or Tamron to bring out a Sony version of this lens. All I did really was just ask her to lie in the sand in front of me. It wasn't staged or anything. She just laid in front there, and I just took a photo. She was rolling around in the snow, and I just grabbed a snapshot with her looking straight at me. You can see the lights reflecting basically off the snow onto her face, so it's acting like a natural reflector, which is perfect. Because I didn't use any flash here. This was just using it straight out of camera. So yeah, that's really all I wanted to show. So it was more or less just a sneak peek of using that lens. Like I said, it's not released yet. It's going to be released soon, I believe. But it seems to be everything that Tamron have said. It does look like it's going to be a beautiful piece of glass.
Very cute. Now, I've always heard, I've never shot in the snow yet. So isn't there, how do you find, that was the Nikon, right? You just said the Nikon?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
How did you find exposing for that? You don't have the EVF.
You have to go a fraction. No, you have to go a fraction over. I know that because I used to shoot it when I shot with my Nikon. You have to go a little bit over to allow for that, because your meter reads there's so much light involved. So yeah. So you just have to go a fraction over. But I was careful because I wasn't sure like I said, because I wasn't using the EVF all the time, I basically made sure that I was dead on in the exposure, and then I just pump it up a little bit in post, because you've got so much range. They're like the Sony sensors. You've got massive amounts of range to go over, but you really don't want to underexpose, because the snow will go grey, and that's the problem. If you don't expose correct, you really should go around about a stop over.
Exactly. So how did you find out about the meter? When you chimped,
just from practice. Yeah.
But it looked good. You chimped and...
Yeah. You can't, like I said, you can't use the EVF on the back, so you just have to take an exposure and chimp and have a look at it and then make an adjustment. But like I said, I had the D810, so I did have the D810 when I shot Nikon, so it sort of wasn't that big a deal. I knew what the sensor would give me. You just have to make sure, like I said, that you don't really underexpose. But you could even underexpose and bring it back in post, because the files, you have so much dynamic range on those cameras.
Yeah, one thing when I went back to the Nikon D7200, it was hard for me to remember that. Oh, I hate the ISO thing on the D750. I don't know why I said that. But you have to hold down like one button to make other buttons move, which I think is kind of cool because you don't bump stuff. But I just watched a video of Chelsea Northrup switching to Sony, actually. And she actually liked the idea of the Nikons where you have to press and hold a button to move another button. Was you having that issue with that? Or was it easier? Did you like it? Or?
Yeah, no, I hated it. I really didn't like it at all. So,
me neither.
Yeah.
Same thing.
I didn't like it. Never going to go back, that's for sure.
Yeah, me neither. So, do you want to hold that other story for the next week?
Yeah, we can, because we've already been on an hour, so we can talk about that next week and go over it, which is an interesting story.
Yeah.
We're going to discuss something about reviewers and things like that, so we're going to discuss that. So we'll keep that until next week. It was an interesting discussion. We can quickly go through the chat, but if you want to go through, because I've got that horrible delay, so if you want to read a few, Aaron. And
people are saying the beautiful waterfront. Thank you. Beautiful sparkles in her eyes. David, your Gilbert said. Yellow snow is the worst. Especially when you're eating it.
I did tell the kids to look out for yellow snow,
Oh, yeah, because it's their first time. Anybody that's in the snow, if you want to be nice, you need to tell them, hey, don't eat the yellow snow. That's too funny. I'm going to figure out how to go back up in this chat thing.
I'm just having a look too and seeing a lot of people were just commenting on the audio and things like that.
Irene
is that Kando 3 being converted to Sony. Yeah, and that's partly what we were going to discuss in that story, Photomiac, talking about these people that go to all of these shoots and stuff like that. There's an interesting article, just to give you a sneak peek, there's an interesting article, video, I encourage you to go and look at it, because, what was it? It was...
You're going to show your desktop?
No, I'm just going to mention it. If you subscribe to Michael the Maven, I don't know, you probably won't be able to see it because I'll see if I can hide my face. If you subscribe to this guy, Michael the Maven, he puts up a really interesting discussion about talking about things with reviewers going to these Sony and Nikon sponsored shoots and all this sort of stuff, and it's a really interesting discussion that he has to say about it. I mean, look, the thing is, he's different to me even because he actually says he doesn't take any review gear at all. I do, but I'll only ever take something that I think I would like to use, and I do tell them that I will tell the truth. So they're not sponsored by the company. So if I think there's a fault with it, I'm going to say there's a fault with it. But I think what he's talking about, and we'll discuss this in full next week, is that he thinks that it could be tainted if you're being sponsored by companies to go out to buy them and all this sort of stuff, and then you're too scared to say anything about them. But we'll leave that till
Well, it's funny because I brought that up before he put his video up, so it's kind of funny that both us and him are thinking about the same types of subjects. So, yeah, it should be interesting. I don't think I'm going to call anybody's names out. Maybe I will. I don't know. But, yeah, it's just like I see certain people. I'm like, I pass. Ike was asking about music to his videos when he's editing on an iPad. Yeah, that's the one thing I never liked about editing on an iPad, getting music to this device. It's kind of tricky. What I started doing and I don't have it here because I didn't think about it. Sorry, but I had it for I actually won it in a prize thing years ago when I got my iPad Air 2. It's a Kingston. It looks like a battery brick type thing. It's made by Kingston, I believe. It has 2 SD card slots on it. It's a Wi-Fi like hotspot type thing, and I would take all my video files from my computer, put them on a hard drive, and then I would stick the hard drive in this Kingston Wi-Fi hotspot thing. And then on my iPad, it has an app called Kingston something. You click on that, and you can just draw files off of the whatever SD cards or everything onto the iPad. That was my old workflow. But I think once iOS 13 comes out, that'll all be no more issues because we can probably just stick the hard drive right in. Hopefully they don't say, oop, that's a music file, we don't want it. Apple's weird sometimes like that. But hopefully it's going to get easier, Ike, and then you can add your videos, songs that you want.
Yeah, I think iOS 13 is going to change everything. It really will. I've been using it a lot. But it's buggy. I've got problems with email at the moment, so you do have to not do it on a machine that's your work machine because it does get buggy. Email worked fine in the previous version, but the latest update, version 5, it's caused issues. So yeah, you've got to be careful upgrading. But we'll have it in a month anyway.
Yep, can't wait. That's going to change it. That's why I'm holding off to doing a workflow video because I just know it's going to change once that comes out. So yeah. I think that's it for me, David. What about you?
No, that's it for me. Just Friday, I'm going to obviously do this dance video with the dancer amongst the rainforest and also by the ocean, so stay tuned for that. I've still got a few things I've got to review. I've got a stack of stuff yesterday actually sent out to me, so I've got another big lighting system that I want to show you, and also some more of those lights. I've got 2 of those lights, which are the small ones, Aaron. 2 companies that sent them. I love them, but I think the thing is, the good thing is I think I'm going to take them and review them because they're a little bit different. Each one's a little bit different, and eventually, when I get to 30,000 subscribers or something, I might have a massive giveaway. So I'm looking forward to doing something like that. Yeah,
and definitely in that video, put in like plus or minuses, or this one, which one you would take over the other ones, because those are really interesting.
Yeah. And apart from that, I'll see you all for Friday's live Sony News and Rumours show. So that'll be on the usual time on Friday. Or Thursday US time.
Yep, give this video a thumbs up. Please subscribe to my channel. We'd love to have you here. If we didn't answer your question or you're watching this after the live, put it in the description because we'll probably run through there for a couple days and answers and questions. And as for me, there's that light stand people's been asking about. It's the carbon fiber light stand. I've been so busy I haven't had time to review that, but that is coming, and we'll see what else comes out from my channel. So that's it, guys. Thank you so much for stopping by.
See you, everyone.
Next week on David's channel.